This is a custard apple tree, which is a sweet fruit that, like the name suggests, tastes just like custard. This is maybe my favourite fruit in the world, but I say that every time the season changes and a new tree ripens. These fruit grow best in subtropical climates and ripen in the middle of winter. It's pretty amazing to have these nutritious, sweet fruit waiting for us in the forest. The fruit shape resembles a love heart, and the flavour matches, as sweet as you could imagine. The seeds are big and shiny, and they are toxic. In India, they are dried and turned into a powder for a natural insecticide. There are a few trees scattered over the valleys of the farm, but we want to plant more because we can never get enough of their delicious flesh. The small patch of chia that we planted is also ready for harvest. It grew over the summer, and now all of the flowers have dried in the sun. Chia seeds are highly nutritional and full of minerals and antioxidants. The plant is native to Mexico and Guatemala, and because we live in such a similar climate, we planted this tester patch to see how it would grow here. It grew so easily and worked perfectly within our seasons, growing fast in the summer's wet season, and now in the dry season it is able to die and dry out. The next test that it will have to pass to find out if it will be a staple of our garden is how hard the harvest and preparation is. We love to grow as much as we can ourselves, and last year we attempted making coffee from scratch. The process was long and hard, and we only got a small jar from it, letting us realize the reality of how difficult it is to grow, harvest, and prepare your own food. But it also made us appreciate our morning coffee so much more, as well as look into the labour and ethics of the food that we consume.
There's chia seeds.
Often, the reality is that buying a product is so much easier and sometimes even cheaper than growing it yourself. But honestly, none of that matters when you can have the satisfaction of growing something from scratch. I'm sure that there's much more productive methods of farming chia, with machinery and other modern inventions that create ease. But with that ease comes other methods of harvesting quicker, cheaper, and more consistently, like monocultured planting, pesticides, and chemicals. Seeing these plants grow from a tiny seed nourished by our homemade compost and then picked between my fingers. I don't just know exactly how this food was farmed, but I understand it because I saw each step of the journey. I'm trying to get the chia seeds out of these little seed sacks, but I can't seem to get it out. You're supposed to be able to shake it and they just come out. And I've tried them out for ages, but it's still not working. So then I tried using a rolling pin and going over them, and that still didn't work. So, I don't know, maybe I need to just if I do this, they seem to come out, but then that also gets all of the little shredded pieces of plant as well, which I don't want, so I'm gonna have to somehow sift that out. Slowly and surely, it started to work. Chia seeds accumulated in my bowl, and I was so excited. This process took a few hours, but it was so satisfying. My mind was so content in this beautiful job of separating seeds. I needed to somehow get the husks of the plant away, while only keeping the actual seeds. Since the seeds were heavier, my best attempt was blowing away the lighter fibers while the seeds sunk to the bottom.
So I thought I was really smart doing my blowing technique, and it was working okay, and then Julia pointed out that I could just use a colander, and now I'm feeling a bit silly. I think this is going to work a lot better. Oh my gosh.
The technique of blowing away the husks actually still came in handy when the smaller bits fell through the colander, so I'm not that silly. From a patch about 2 feet by 2 feet, this is how much chia we grew. I think it's pretty successful, especially since chia can be stored for such a long time, so I'm keen to grow more next time.
I know it might not look like much, but this is the most exciting thing in the world. I cannot believe that we grew this chia in the garden from seeds, and now it's chia seeds in a jar that I can eat in a yummy chia pudding. It's really exciting. We always struggle a bit with what we should grow here in the rainforest because it is such a different climate to things like zucchinis or tomatoes that grow well in other climates. They can get fungus and stuff like that here. So instead, we always try to experiment with things that grow better in this climate, and that is more tropical foods. Chia is one of those. I'm so excited. We kind of just did like a little tester patch. So we had like just a little bit of chia that grew so well, and I don't know, if we can grow chia that easily, I'm very excited for the future because it's such a superfood and it's so good for you in so many different ways. So I think next year I want to grow a whole field of chia. I think we planted it in spring. I can't even remember. But I think next time I'll go with Julia's technique because I have chia fluff all through my hair.
To celebrate, I'm making us a special chia pudding. We are sisters, Julia and Anastasia, and a few years ago now, we chose this life in the Australian rainforest. With the help of our animal friends, we work to restore nature's balance, garden, grow our own food, and live with the land. Last year, we wrote a memoir full of stories of the rainforest, its fruit, and our journey of learning to care for the land. You can buy it by following the link in our description. At At this time of year, we normally put the goats in the paddocks on the other side of the farm. These paddocks are more wild, so they have more grass and weeds for them to eat.
It's funny, this routine with the goats has taught me so much. You do a task every day and, you know, the same task again and again through the seasons, and you kind of learn a lot from it. To start with, I'm sort of always like, oh no, I've got to go do the goats, I'm all cozy, I don't feel like it. And then the next minute I'm jumping down the hill with them with a big smile on my face, and I kind of learn to be like a goat and to skip with joy and to just embrace the beautiful, simple moments of the day. I think they kind of know that best. They, you know, jump down the hill and then they nibble on something and then they go for a little adventure, and they're just kind of going where their heart takes them. And I think we could all learn a little something from that. Come on. Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Good boy, bird.
There's been winter storms all day and it's so beautiful. I think the winter rain has to be the most beautiful thing because it's the dry season, so it can get really dry. So when we get rain, it's just so good for the earth. And then all this mist comes and then the sunsets are pink and it's such a special time.
Get it, duck! Get it, duck! Get it, duck! Come on! Duck, duck, duck! Get it, duck!
The rainforest has two real distinct seasons, and one is the wet season and one is the dry season. And at the moment we're in the dry season, so I didn't realize how much I missed this mist. It's just all so beautiful and the fog comes in. We've just got a bit of rain, so it's all misty and it's just amazing. red cedar, and it's the one deciduous tree that's native to the rainforest, and so it's lost all of its leaves because it was the winter solstice about a week ago, and now it's just starting to get its first blossoms back, and it's always the most beautiful thing. It gets these bright red blossoms and it lights up the rainforest. You can see it from valleys away. You can look into the mountains and see these bright red trees. Thank you to our patrons who support us on our journey, growing, planting, and caring for the land and animals.